So I thought for the inaugural video of this sub-channel, I guess you could say, I thought that I would give you 10 forgotten horror films. I'm not putting these in any particular order, they're just in the order they are. I don't think one is any more or less forgotten than the other. And in some circles, they may not be forgotten at all. But they're movies that I don't see mentioned a lot. And they're personal favorites of mine. So, without further ado, let's just get started. Seating of a Ghost from 1983. A Category 3 Hong Kong horror movie before Category 3 even existed. This is a film that isn't afraid to show bad special effects right beside good special effects, as well as good acting beside bad acting. A story of murder and revenge from beyond the grave that has some of the most mind-bending set pieces of any horror movie, making it infinitely watchable for gorehounds and Hong Kong cinema snobs alike. A man seeks to avenge his cheating wife's murder, but the only black magic priest he can find knows only one way to punish the guilty. The wife's ghost must be impregnated with a demon baby that feasts on living blood. You know, the usual run-of-the-mill seeding of a ghost that every black magic priest uses. This film runs the gamut from prosaic domestic drama to revenge flick to kung fu-y martial arts to absolutely bonkers magic splatter and swaps between them in 0 seconds flat. Truly, the climax of this film is absolutely nuts and has to be seen to be believed. The Last Winter, 2006. Wendigo-obsessed Larry Fessenden's other Wendigo film, second to the titular first film, The Last Winter follows a natural gas energy outpost in the Arctic North run by crusty old man Ron Perlman, beset by an environmental overseer when strange phenomena begin to occur around the fields. During the investigation, random cases of cabin fever and Arctic madness are determined to have a far more supernatural cause that may spell doom for the entire world. Mankind's hubris regarding oil, and more specifically fossil fuels, may have caused our last winter. What you get here is a story that may not make the most sense, but does have a palpable aura of doom. There's a darkness to the film, even in its totally fantastical ending, that supersedes any silly lines or rough special effects. You're left with pure dread and some outstanding performances from Ron Perlman, Connie Britton, and James LaGrosse. The Boneyard, from 1991. A washed-up police detective and agoraphobic psychic are called upon to investigate what appears to be a series of child murders. When they arrive at the county morgue, the titular Boneyard, at night, the case proves to be far more malicious, with everyone trapped in the basement as monstrous undead spirits arise and seek the souls of the living. Phyllis Diller, sans wig, is the only big-name star in the special effects fright fest, and chews scenery like nobody's business in her role as the morgue coordinator, Miss Poopenplatz. The creature designs on display are truly nightmarish, but the film balances its dark subject matter with surprising levity and heaping servings of black humor. The Boneyard is a truly surprising original concept, and its execution ensures it a place among the most celebrated cult films. I honestly can't suggest this one enough for both jaded gorehounds and fans of deeply atmospheric zombie horror. Ghost Story, from 1981. In a tiny New England town, a group of elderly men form a club where they tell ghost stories, until they begin to die in mysterious circumstances. The son of one of the dead members arrives with a ghost story of his own, that of a love affair he had with a ghost. The remaining members come to believe that the string of unfortunate deaths are connected to a deadly event from their youths, and that a vengeful spirit has come through the veils of time to enact revenge. Based on the Peter Straub novel, this is a fantastic and oft-forgotten slice of classic ghost story cinema with a cracking cast of old Hollywood actors and a palpable sense of dread. Alice Krige, the Borg Queen of Star Trek First Contact, plays the mysterious, eerie woman, with Fred Astaire, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., John Houseman, and Melvin Douglas as the aging group of friends. Sure, it may not be as chilling or expertly crafted as Straub's novel, but it still packs a wallop, thanks in no small part to the special effects by makeup legend Dick Smith. Fun fact, Smith created an eyeless gaping mouth apparition for this film that went unused, but was later used to great effect in William Malone's The House on Haunted Hill. Come True, from 2020. Sarah, a homeless runaway, finds sleeping outside or staying at a revolving door of friends' houses beginning to seriously affect her sleeping habits and dreams. What begins as fairly standard sleep paralysis gradually escalates into daytime hallucinations, and she enrolls in an experimental sleep study. Needless to say, the study participants all have no idea what their dreams begin to unleash as more and more nightmarish shadows start to invade their waking lives. Convinced that the study has something much more nefarious in mind, Sarah falls down a rabbit hole of horrifying proportions as her already tenuous grip on reality erodes into horrible fantasy. This Canadian gem combines a genuinely oppressive vibe with palpable paranoia for a truly one-of-a-kind experience. This movie may not be for everyone. It's very slow, and the terror is more of the creeping variety as we watch Sarah slowly lose her mind. There isn't much gore, fewer jump scares, but Come True has a stellar synth soundtrack and one of the most bizarre stories this side of David Lynch. If you ever wondered what a Lovecraftian techno nightmare might look like, Come True is for you. Biozombie, from 1998. Woody Invincible and Crazy B are two wastrels peddling bootleg VCDs in a claustrophobic shopping mall in Hong Kong. They're ignorant, horny, poor, and don't care about casual theft or lying to the police. But they're the protagonists, and we're stuck with them. While on an errand for what is strongly implied to be a triad member, they run down a government agent and unknowingly expose him to a biological weapon that turns him into a zombie. As they attempt to fix the busted car, the various personalities running businesses in the mall gradually run afoul of the undead, leading to a splat-sticky fun ride until a surprisingly downbeat ending. From homages to House of the Dead, easily better than the execrable Uwe Boll adaptation, Dawn of the Dead and Peter Jackson's Brain Dead, to madcap kung fu, this movie has it all. The characters are annoying but entertaining, and the deaths towards the end of the film foreshadow the emotional ending of Edgar Wright's Shaun of the Dead over a decade later. This is a thoroughly enjoyable romp that isn't afraid to get silly, but just watch out for the mood whiplash at the end. Bonus points for the clearly unauthorized use of Lucozade as the zombification agent. Stacy, from 2001. All the teenage girls in Japan are becoming zombies. At a certain age, girls suffer from near-death happiness, then die, becoming zombies mere moments after death. These zombies, called Stacys, for reasons never explained in the film, are hunted down by a government agency called the Romero Repeat Kill Troops, or Squad, or killed by their loved ones/family. Into such a ridiculous apocalypse we're thrown, and it's either sink or swim. A mad scientist believes that the zombification is caused by butterfly twinkle powder that is exuded by the Stacy skin. But for what purpose? And what does he plan to do with such dubious information? It's kind of impossible to summarize this film, also called Stacy Attack of the Schoolgirl Zombies, and you know what? That's okay. What we're treated to is a non-stop litany of silliness, references, and blankly straight absurdity that leads one to ponder exactly what we are watching and why. In many ways, Stacy is a Siamese twin to Suicide Club, where the plot takes a backseat to some brain-meltingly strange occurrences. The films may not make any sense, but they are both highly entertaining. Exit Humanity, from 2011. In an alternate history where zombies appeared during the American Civil War, we follow Edward Young, a soldier trying to eke out a living with his family on the plains. Following a series of undead outbreaks, some hinting at a cyclical nature of the undead plague as a natural response to senseless bloodshed, Young has to survive alone against a cadre of bitter Confederate soldiers in an uncaring, voracious world. Exit Humanity is an expertly crafted slice of independent zombie cinema that has the balls to try new things, uncaring of budget or directorial skill. This is not a polished film, but its rough exterior hides surprising depth and pathos. Had the film done better, who knows if we could have seen more of Edward Young or his descendants. Perhaps more lore about the undead phenomenon beyond the tantalizing bits given in Brian Cox's sententious narration. Alas, the film did not have a wide enough release and was only widely available on DVD before hitting video on demand and streaming earlier this year. But what we have is an atypical zombie film unlike any other. This is an excellent and unfortunately underseen gem, if you can forgive some stilted dialogue, some amateur acting, a couple of makeup gaffes, and a glacial pace. Found, from 2012. A young boy learns that his older brother is a serial killer and keeps his victims' heads in a bowling bag in his closet. The boy tries to understand how and why his previously caring elder brother became a killer while navigating typical childhood issues like bullies and friends. Unfortunately, his brother's secret ends up causing the young boy's life to quickly spiral out of control to nightmarish proportions. Another indie film, Found is a slow character study and examination of the serial killer not just as a boogeyman, but as a person shaped by their environment. While the film, and by extension the book upon which it was based, dabbled in possible whys for the brother's behavior, we're never given any definite answer, as the older brother remains a cipher, whose actions seem totally random without remorse or reason. Despite its rough edges, this film is a visceral tour de force that doesn't let up until a uniquely harrowing climax. Lamora, A Child's Tale of the Supernatural, from 1973. A young girl searches for her father in a nightmarish, dreamlike southern Gothic town. Like Alice in Wonderland, she passes by a bevy of strange characters and travels through singularly odd places in her search before ending up in a foggy, moss-covered plantation. By no fault of her own, she comes under the thrall of a prim southern witch-woman come vampire named Lamora, and must fight not only for her father, but for her own immortal soul. This is a no-budget rarity that virtually disappeared upon its release. But don't let that stop you from hunting it down if you prefer your horror dreamlike, nightmarish, and tinged with more than a bit of fairy tale. The word dreamlike gets thrown around a lot, but that is really what this film is, a child's nightmare of the dangers of the real world set amidst a vampire fable. Yes, it's slow. Yes, the production values seem more in line with a well-budgeted TV movie, but the sheer malevolence and surprising heart at the center of this story make it the definition of a hidden gem.